Now, Anas is also joining us live from Mykolaiv in Ukraine. Hello to you, Anas. You have been tracking all the events closely. You are now in Mykolaiv. What is the latest situation on the ground there? Bringing you all the latest details coming out of Ukraine now. Talking about Russia at the latest G20 finance ministers meeting in India. Russia accused the West of destabilizing the meeting by trying to force through a joint statement on the Ukraine-Russia war. The Russian Foreign Ministry issued a statement saying, and I quote, "We regret that the activities of the G20 continue to be destabilized by the Western collective and used in an anti-Russian way." Now, for all the latest details, we are being joined by Anas Malik, who is coming to us from Mykolaiv in Ukraine. Hello to you, Anas. You've been tracking all the events closely from Ukraine. You are now in Mykolaiv. What is the latest situation on the ground there?
Well, Alison, Mykolaiv, life seemingly comes back to what is the new normal or what is normalcy, but residents continue to live under fear. It's a rainy morning here. It's roughly around 10:30 on the dial local time, and there has been some considerable statements that have been made that are a moment to rejoice with when it comes to the Ukrainian authorities and the administration and the government itself. For instance, the Croatian side has said that it would be supplying some helicopters. There is movement when it comes to the German tanks as well, the Leopard 2 tanks. So that gives them reinforced hope with regards to the provision of ammunition and arms that they have been asking for in order to prepare for a counter-offensive, a counter-spring offensive rather, that is likely to begin sometime in the second week of April as soon as the snow melts. We've been hearing that overnight shelling did continue in Kherson Oblast, even in parts of Mykolaiv Oblast where I'm in the Mykolaiv city, but in the larger region of Mykolaiv, we've heard that there was a fire as well, followed by a blast, or a blast that followed by a fire. That is what the Ukrainian emergency services said. But by and large, this is what is the new normal. It looks like people have internalized the war. We've been speaking to people on background, and our reports have been going out. A lot of people have been saying that this is a reality and now they have to live with it. But one such comment that struck out or that stood out was the fact that one such person said that this past 1 year felt like 40 years of his life to him, for one very reason, because of the ongoing alarms, the air raid sirens, the fact that they had to rush back and forth between shelter and their home. Therefore, it has made life difficult for them. Alison?
Right, and Anas, how has Ukraine responded to Biden's statement of not sending the requested F-16 fighters?
There is no official comment on that as we speak. We're expecting that sometime to happen later today or sometime tomorrow. But it would be seen as largely as in disappointment, for the one very reason that Ukraine has been pushing for its arms, for more arms, for more weapons. We had also heard from the Italian side that they are willing to provide somewhat 5 fighter jets, but the plan was abandoned when Giorgia Meloni visited, and she said that they're now considering to provide other weapons and ammunition and not fighter jets, for the very reason that they would not want to be the first one. So it would be seen as greater disappointment largely, but we're yet to hear an official reaction on that. Alison?
Right, and Anas, finally, what do we make of Russia's comments on the G20, where we heard them saying that the West is destabilizing the G20 talks, with, of course, only China and Russia not agreeing in that communique?
Well, it's along the expected lines. Russian side has been saying that this is not a war, that this is not an invasion. Rather, they're trying to, quote, denazify the country, unquote. They're trying to, quote, secure their borders, unquote. And that is the reason we're seeing that there is this renewed offensive as well. Russia refuses to accept the fact that it has invaded territories or parts of Ukraine, that it has even attacked. Rather, it goes on to justify and says that it is a preemptive action. Therefore, in light of that, it was along expected lines where the West seems to be united. The Western Front seems to be united, at least on one part, where it would want to call out and try to isolate Russia in as many forums as it can. But then we have these other blocks where the politics is divided, and that shows the division largely in the world politics or in geopolitics or in realpolitik, as we say it, where you have China and Russia standing together, and you have the Western bloc standing together. So it was along expected lines. Ukraine would always we understand that there will be a reaction from that, and along expected lines from Ukraine as well, where they will be calling out on Russia and, quote, their false allegations or false implications, unquote. And that is the reason we're seeing that that this animosity or this hostility or this division that between the power corridors that lies, it is a reason, it is a source of divide, and this would further continue to escalate and aggravate the situation. Alison?
Absolutely, Anas. Thank you very much for bringing us all the latest details coming out of Ukraine.